Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today is wash day and I'll be trying out some new Tangle Teezers on my mostly 4B with some 4A natural hair. It was my birthday recently and my colleagues got me an Amazon voucher, which was really kind of them. I decided to spend it all on hair products, including 4 new Tangle Teezers. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll probably know that I historically predominantly finger detangle about 90% of the time, and that I would only use my Tangle Teezer once every few months or so. This is one of the key techniques that has helped me get to the length that I currently have. However, since I have recently been focusing more on maintaining my hair at its current length rather than growing it any longer, I have been experimenting with using my old Tangle Teezer much more frequently than before to make my wash days just a little bit shorter. The other week I dropped it and it basically snapped. I'm not angry as I've had it for about 8 years or so, so I think that's a fair amount of time for a detangling brush to last. So when I got my Amazon voucher, I went looking for another one, and much to my surprise, I found that there was not just the original brush like I thought, but there were also different versions aimed at different hair types as well. So then I thought, why not just get them all and see which ones work best on my hair? So the 4 brushes I got were the Naturally Curly, which is marketed as one aimed at 3C to 4C hair, Thick and Curly, aimed at thick and curly hair. Then we have the original, which just says straight to curly, and then we have the Fine and Fragile, which says that it's made for fine, distressed and color treated hair. So before I start, I would love if you can comment down below on which ones you guess will work best for my hair and why. I would also love to know if you have any of these Tangle Teezers or if you prefer a different type of detangling brush. I'm starting off on freshly shampooed hair. I usually go ahead and skip the regular conditioner and go straight to deep conditioner, so that's what I'll be doing today. This is a deep conditioner I'll be using today. This is actually my first time using it and I quite liked it. It had a lot of slip and it definitely helped along with the detangling with these brushes. So I'm going to be testing out the brushes on each section. As for my technique, I'll be finger detangling each section briefly before then detangling the hair with the brush from tip to root as I usually do. If you are trying to grow your hair, I really recommend this technique as I found this to be the best way to avoid or minimize damage when using hair detangling tools. So let's get into the brushes. For each brush, I'm going to be giving it a score out of 10. This will be based on ease of use, whether or not I feel that it's breaking my hair, and how quickly my hair is being detangled. As my main function for a detangling brush is detangling, not defining my curls, I will not be including this in my scale. The first brush that I got was a Naturally Curly. This is the one that I was most excited about because it's aimed at 3C to 4C hair, and obviously my hair falls within this scale. Also, when I googled Tangle Teezers in type 4 hair, it seemed like this was the one that everyone was giving glowing reviews about. I have to say that I didn't have the experience that everyone else seemed to have. Maybe it's because it wasn't my first Tangle Teezer that I've used, so I had something else to compare it to. The first thing I noticed when the brush arrived was the fact that the bristles were so stiff. If you've had a Tangle Teezer before, you'll probably know that one of the defining features of the brush would be the flexible teeth. I quite frankly don't understand this. Listen to the sound of it. In my very humble opinion, the reason why the Tangle Teezer is so revolutionary is because of the bending teeth. So I really don't understand why on the one made for our tight curls, which can in many ways be more fragile than straight hair, why these teeth are so immovable. I would think that the teeth would be softer actually to compensate for the fact that there are tighter curls to go through and that our curls tend to be drier and therefore more prone to breakage. So anyway, here is me trying the brush out. As you can see, I don't like this brush. It was just as I expected. The way that it drags through my hair didn't feel good at all. I could feel my hair ripping basically. It was not a good experience, and at some points it was painful. There were many times where it seemed like the brush just stopped, and the only way to get through would be to rip through my hair, which is not something that I was really prepared to do. A lot of people ask me what the secret to growing long hair is, and I have a lot of tips. But if I had to give one and one only, it would be to be as gentle with your hair as possible. And I'm sorry, but this brush was not really allowing me to do that. So overall, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. The reason it isn't a 0 is because I think if you were doing maybe a wash and go, this brush would probably actually do a good job of defining your curls. But in terms of detangling, it was just very aggressive with my hair, and I don't feel like it would be a great tool if the aim of your journey is length retention and having longer hair. The second brush that I got was the Thick and Curly. You'll probably notice that this is the one brush that I got in the original pod-like shape. For all of the other ones, I got them with the handle. This one was the only one that I actually couldn't find on Amazon with a handle. Funny enough, I actually realized through this experience that I might actually prefer the pod shape. It was much better for controlling the brush as well as getting to the root of my hair. I also found that the long brushes were so thin that they were somewhat difficult to hold, and I sometimes found myself holding them by the base. So yeah, the pod was definitely better for me. Though it does get more slippery over time and you can drop it and break it, just like I did with my old Tangle Teezer. The bristles on this brush are definitely more firm than the original, however they were nowhere near as hard as the naturally curly. I also noticed that the spaces between the actual bristles seem to be a little bit larger than the original brush. I'm not sure if I was imagining this, as in the bristles were slightly farther apart from each other. Detangling with this brush was a really great experience actually. It was definitely more gentle on my strands in general than the previous brush, and I was able to detangle very swiftly. I think it was because the bristles were wider apart, so it allowed for some clumping of my curls. This brush would definitely be something that I would be comfortable recommending to others because the bristles are on the firmer side. There were some times where I felt that there was a slight pulling, but it was nowhere near as drastic as the naturally curly brush. Overall, I give this detangling experience a 7 out of 10, just because I think it could have been slightly softer. The third brush I'm trying is what I believe to be the original with a handle attached. It doesn't say the original, but I guess that it is because it's the only one without a specific name. It says it's for straight to curly hair. The first thing I noticed is that the bristles are exactly the same as the original brush that I have. As I'm detangling, this is definitely my favorite so far. It has the detangling ability of all of the other brushes that I used, but with softer bristles. It doesn't feel like my hair is being pulled out at all. It doesn't feel like there's anything going wrong here, and I'm not hearing that like ping 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 sound of any hairs breaking. The only thing I'm noticing is that as the bristles are softer, it isn't getting through my hair as quickly as a Thick and Curly brush. So I think this brush would be more ideal for smaller sections, whereas the Thick and Curly might be more ideal if I was, for example, detangling my whole head in like 4 sections. I would give this one a 9 out of 10 because it did a great job of detangling gently without pulling any of my hair out. The last brush is the Fine and Fragile, and it says that it's for fine, distressed and color treated hair. I actually picked this one up because once I received a naturally curly brush and it was super hard, I thought that maybe the Fine and Fragile brush would be completely on the other side of the spectrum and would be extra soft. And luckily that was actually the case. So when it comes to length retention, I think that this brush definitely came out on top for me. It was very soft and softening to my strands. It detangled without any additional damage, and it basically glided through my hair. However, because the bristles were so soft, it was almost like they were being tickled at some points. Like my knots were too strong for the brush's bristles, so much so that they were just kind of brushing against the actual tangles rather than going through them. So I think I had to put a lot more concentration into making sure that I was actually applying enough pressure for it to go through. So this meant that the sections took a little bit longer to get through than usual, but it was great because I didn't feel there was any damage happening. I think if you have thick or medium density hair, this brush would be ideal for when you finger detangle until the last moment and then you just want to sort of smooth out your curls and make sure you got all the tangles out. This is a great finisher. However, if you have thick hair, I don't think it would be very effective in large sections. So probably the thick and curly brush would be better for that. Yeah, I think that if you were having larger sections, the brush would just be grazing on the top layer and would definitely find it difficult to penetrate into the middle of the sections because the bristles would just be basically bending and tickling the hair. This brush overall would be a good match though if you do indeed have fragile or fine hair, just as it says on the tin. Overall, I think I would give this brush an 8 out of 10 because I like that it's like this. I think it's like the soft bed from Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's slightly too soft for my hair unless I'm doing a different kind of style. However, if this was a scale on length retention alone and what was going to help you keep as much hair on your head as possible, this brush would be on top. So overall, this was a really great experience. I don't think I'll be keeping all of the brushes. I might give a couple away to some of my close family members who would most likely use them a little bit more. I will definitely not be keeping the natural curly, nor will I be recommending it to anyone. Overall, I would say the natural curly, I would avoid it at all costs. I did not like the way it treated my hair at all. The thick and curly, I think great for thick hair or medium density or working in larger sections. I think that was great. The original, I think the best all-rounder, great for sort of medium or smaller sections and detangled in a really timely manner without doing any damage. And then for the softer brush, oh, absolutely lovely for smaller sections, no breakage detected at all, and just an overall really pleasant detangling experience. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're currently looking for a Tangle Teezer, I hope that this helped you choose. Please let me know down below if you've had an experience with the Tangle Teezer, which one you have used, or if you have and you actually prefer a different detangling brush, let me know. I'd be so interested to hear about that as well. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!